I am recording. We are ready to go. Good morning,
Yes.
world. So, welcome. We have um, another installment of Michelle Hoffmann's liner notes. Liner notes are the insight the artists or curators offer into what's really going on at the time of creation and what inspired the recording to be what it is. Michelle Hoffmann's liner notes is imperative insight and curated wisdom you need to inspire you to unblock your potential. In a changing world, you can find your unique path to create balance and enjoy an abundant life with all the resources you need. I, Michelle Hoffmann, help new and seasoned managers develop high-performing teams to achieve personal and professional revenue goals. Discover how I can help you and your company succeed at lightthesparklady@gmail.com. lightthesparklady@gmail.com. Today, I'm so excited to share with you somebody who has skills beyond what you can imagine. Vivian De Guzman has become a number one international bestseller of 2 books. And the book that she's sharing with us today and some of the resources and secret tips and tools is from Money Blocks, 8 steps to get to 6 figures in 90 days or less in any economy. Vivian, thank you so much for joining us. What I would say about you is that you have advice that matters. You really do. You've got significant advice that matters. Will you tell us a little bit about the people who you're working with and what you help them to do?
Yes, definitely. Thank you, Michelle, for inviting me here. And the people that I help are overwhelmed and stressed out female business owners who would like to experience calmness, clarity, and confidence when they're actually making 6 figures or even crossing 7 figures in 90 days or less in any economy. That's the people I help. Really, that's that. And I call her Savannah.
Savannah.
That's my ideal person.
So
Yes.
Savannah is this overwhelmed business professional. She's probably running her own business. And based on the fact that she is growing so fast and can see
Mhm.
opportunity even during change,
Yes.
it's very likely that someone like this might be overwhelmed. And the reality is there's growing pains when that level of change happens. So
Definitely.
what is Savannah in this case? What is her dream come true? Because she's working like she is searching for the 25th hour of every day to get it all done.
Yes.
What would be her dream come true? Because it sounds like she's doing everything she possibly can to
Mhm.
make this stuff happen very quickly.
So a lot of the Savannahs that I have worked with basically are very hardworking. They're heart-centered. They really want the best for their clients, right? And for even the vendors and even their teammates. The thing is, they are getting hit by a lot of invisible, we call it money blocks. And unfortunately, money is related, um, it's interrelated with relationships that we have with ourselves and others, and also their health. So but her dream come true is she's so tired of chasing the money, chasing the customers. She actually just would like to learn how to attract money to her.
Yeah.
That's her dream come true. So instead of all effort, I'm basically teaching her tools in order for her to really know what her center and alignment is. So that means her soul, her heart, mind, and body are in alignment. So she feels this inner peace, when she wakes up in the morning. She just knows that everything is going to be okay. She has a clear path and strategy where she's going. And so what she does is she just executes that plan. So instead of working 8, 10, 12 long hours, she works less. And the more she is calm, peaceful inside, relaxed, she has basically inner harmony, right? and no mental chatter. So what happens is things come to her, ideas, the right people, they just magically appear, right? Because she's thinking about them. So, I mean, how can you use your mind in such a way that is super efficient that when you're meditating and you just get this message, you can execute immediately, and it's very minimal effort. It's like one little move can actually give you a lot of results. So that's what Savannah is looking for, because she wants to have time with her family. She wants
Right.
to travel. She wants to be able to just relax and just enjoy herself. And at the same time, knowing that she's helping lots and lots of people by doing less effort. That's her dream come true.
Wow. Yeah, I would say that's everyone's dream come true. And you
Yes.
present it in such a beautiful way that here she is, she's doing everything for everyone. And really, you give her the tools, it sounds like, so that she can take care of herself and
Yes.
clear. I mean, the way that you put it, it just makes easy sense because
Mm-hmm.
we all often feel like, oh, if we work harder, if we work longer, if we do more,
Mm-hmm.
point where we're exhausted and there's
Yeah.
nothing left to give. You've
They
given
get
all the
adrenal
gift.
fatigue, headaches, hormonal problems, loss of libido. They get all kinds of stuff if they're into too much effort, because
Right.
effort is in the third chakra. So, in other words, it's in your gut, right? So, your digestive system fails and you have some stomach problems, acid problems, kidney failures, kidney stones. I mean, look how much dialysis we have all over. People are so stressed out that they think that's the only way, but it's because they were conditioned and programmed to be that way, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's as if we're told this is the only path to take to
Yeah,
create that groove and dig it deeper for more, work harder, work longer,
yeah.
work yourself into
They
ill
work
health.
themselves to death, technically.
Yeah,
That's what they're doing.
right. And it's so interesting because the way that you presented that makes perfect, clear, common sense. Like,
Mm-hmm,
why doesn't everyone realize that if we can come back to balance
mm-hmm,
and, be centered to the point where we've had a good night's sleep and we wake up refreshed,
mm-hmm.
then that's good. And with a clear mind, with inner harmony, as you were saying, and then that changes everything because clearing
Yep.
all the blocks and clearing all the worry allows us to move through life with finesse rather than force. And that
Yeah.
gives us a chance to, still keep our eye on the ball, have
Yes,
the
definitely.
strategy in place, as you were saying,
Mm-hmm.
and once the strategy is set, then we know what we're going to be doing in the morning and all day long. And that's doable, as you were saying,
Yes.
instead of being overwhelmed with a to-do list that's so great that it feels crushing like a tsunami on you. You wake up knowing that you've got a clear path ahead of you. You don't need the overwhelm. And that gives you an opportunity to have the structure to be
Mm-hmm.
creative and have all of that attraction come to you instead
Yes.
of you chasing it, which, as you were
Mm.
saying, it opens up the clear path and strategy for money to come to you, for
Yes.
relationships to come to you, for abundance to come to you, and resources. And all you need is a little inner harmony. Huh.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds
Mm-hmm.
it sounds a little easier than it is. How did you get to this? You were a doctor, weren't you? Aren't you a doctor?
Now, I'm a physical therapist by
Okay.
trade, right? And so I do know the body very well, hence the title Human MRI, because I can see the inside of their organ systems and everything inside what's happening. And knowing knowledge of anatomy and physiology does help a lot, because when somebody says, they could come and say they're having money problems, but when you ask further, they actually have relationship problems, either with themselves or their spouse, or with someone in the family or outside, right? It could be a supervisor. And they could also have health issues. So when they say, oh, by the way, my hip hurts, or I'm having adrenal problems or adrenal fatigue, or, I don't have any energy, I don't know what happened to it. And then they blame, oh, because I had kids and I have so much work to do. You decide, technically, that's a choice, right? That you you created that life based on what you wanted it to be. And unfortunately, it's based on, again, all the unconscious and subconscious programming that we've had. I wanted to share with your audience that money, unfortunately, is in all of our energetic boundaries. It's in all of our chakras. So we were only taught, common knowledge is first chakra, like the pubic area. That's where the money problems are. Yes, if you don't know how to release the old patterns, but money is in your physical boundary, emotional boundary, relational boundary, and even spiritual boundaries. So money is such a trigger to most people, that word, because it becomes such a complicated topic when you realize that there's so many tentacles that actually connect to that issue. And at first, when you're telling them the truth, because truth has a different vibrational frequency, when you hear it, unfortunately, you cannot unhear it, right? It has this thing, and you're like, oh, that's not true. And you can invent all the lies on top of lies and limitations and fear, because you heard something that actually speaks to your soul, and you're like, oh no, that's not me. My mother can't be like that. My husband can't be like that. My children can't be like that. Really? Because if you sit still, you will see how you've contributed to their behavior also, because you've allowed things to happen. So most people with money problems either have money leaks. In other words, they have holes in their container.
Okay.
Holes in their lives, holes in their business. Some of them do really have invisible blocks. Like I had a client that went from 0 to 120,000 in 90 days, right? Like that was her goal.
Wait, can we just repeat that for the people who are listening? How much fun would it be to go from 0 to 120,000 in 90 days? Think about that. 3 months from now, you've got 120K. Okay.
That's why the money books this whole book, the Money Blocks book, was written because of her, because her husband or her ex left her with nothing, literally stole her life savings. And she said, I don't know what to do now. And her friend said, go to this Vivian, the money magnet activator, because she can really help you. And she's thinking, I only have this much money in my credit card, and oh well, what the heck, I'm already broke, so might as well. So she did.
Okay.
She did, and that opened up the floodgates, right, to her 120K. By the way, that's the one that her ex stole from her. The whole life savings she had was 120K, and she said, when she worked with me, she didn't believe it was going to happen anyway. So I said, set up a 30, 60, and 90-day goal. And she said, I'll set it up so high that I can't achieve that anyway. So with whatever she was doing, because she was doing credit repair, it's not going to happen. She said, even if she does the math, she looked at how many clients she needs to sell her packages to, even if she raised her rates, she said, that's not going to happen. And magically, 120K check out of nowhere. Well, she had an insurance claim in the past that literally gave her $120,000 check on the 90th day of us working together. So this one tip I'm going to give them, and they need to write this down. This is what I had her say to the universe. Ask the universe, actually. What are the infinite possibilities of receiving blank amount of money, whatever you guys wanted to have, in the next 90 days with ease, grace, and flow? Okay, so you know how we try to control how this 120,000 perhaps is going to come? Like, it should come from my business. It should come from here. It should come. That is not your job to figure out how. That is the universe's job to figure out how. You need to know what you want. What is it you want to have? Okay, so what are the infinite possibilities of receiving or even having blank amount of money in the next 90 days with ease, grace, and flow? And then release that. Just do your thing, whatever you're doing, and go for it.
Wow.
That was the formula. That's the first thing that I had her do. And of course she did it. And yeah, it happened. So now she's about to cross 7 figures in our next 90 days.
So yeah, you know what? If you put money in a versatiler that has that kind of 120,000x return, you go
Mm,
back to the right.
yes.
And it's really nice. You've talked about there's two things, and I don't want to let them go
Mm,
because there's two things that you've shared with us that were sort of subtle, but I want to underline them.
okay.
One, that you're the money magnet activator. And this
Right.
is a perfect example of that,
Hmm.
where here's somebody who's like just about at zero or less than. And then, really, the first thing that you were sharing with her is to set a very clear intention into the universe.
Yes.
And Vivian, what you were saying was write this down. So you can't
Mm.
just, the fact that it's that you said it twice is probably not enough for all of our listeners. But if anyone who really wants to manifest that level of change,
Yes.
how long does it take to write, get grounded and write it down to set your intention of
Mhm.
what is the infinite possibility of receiving $120,000 in the next 90 days with ease, grace, and flow. And if you write it down and send it out into the universe, then you have actually taken that first step.
Hmm. I had her post that everywhere in her office. Okay. And then it's what are the infinite possibilities? Because I am asking for abundance. I'm asking for different ways, not
Mhm.
just one way. Because,
Right.
like I said, some of my clients in my 90-day success program, there was this one lady, she was in a financial planning or financial firm. And so she's like, is this really my job? Is this my sole purpose? And it's interesting how she started collaborating with someone else in the product section because she knew someone related to that. And again, that lady is crossing 7 figures, right? So, like I said, the possibilities are endless if you open your eyes to opportunities. Because I think we're looking for problems sometimes because we're problem solving,
Mhm.
obviously, instead of looking for miracles every day. Because to me, those are, for all of us, it needs to be an everyday thing, right? We can witness miracles every single day. So why not witness a miracle in our lives, especially in our financial, right, prosperity? That's
Right.
a great bonus every single day to witness that every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, expect miracles, basically, is what I'm saying as you work with me.
Okay. And you've been doing this for quite some time, and miracles are actually happening. So there's
Yes.
another thing that you mentioned, and that is that you are literally a human MRI.
Mm,
And knowing you and seeing you work with people, I've literally observed just
mm-hmm.
in your, not even, not literally, but metaphorically, it's as if you reach into people and see what's going on. They don't have to tell you anything about what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And suddenly, just the intention and the opportunity and the authorization, you can look into someone as a human
Mm-hmm.
MRI and actually not only see what's literally going on, but you can help them make changes. Would you speak
Yes.
to that for just a moment? Because it's amazing.
Thank you. So, for example, this particular client that crossed this 120K, right, in 90 days. When I say human MRI, so people would think of the MRI machine that goes, when you go to the hospital, let's say you have a disc problem, disc meaning low back pain, right? You have sciatica, maybe you're having such severe pain in your back. By the way, when you're having back problems, normally it is a sign that it's either you're having too much pressure, that's why your disc finally blows up or pushes against your nerve, or you're having money problems. That's a very common indicator of a money issue, or you are carrying so much excessive responsibility way beyond what your body can handle. So our bodies literally tell us everything.
Right.
So people with cholesterol problems, they may have a problem completing projects, maybe bringing from point A to point B. And so people will start having cholesterol, because high cholesterol, when I look at it inside, it just means that your liver, right, doesn't produce enough HDL. So I'm going scientific a little bit here.
Right.
And then there's too much LDL. But it's because there's a lot of holes, physical holes in our system, blood vessels, organ systems. So your liver has to work harder to patch those holes. Hence, it needs more of the LDL to patch a lot of the holes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just because you're having this thought that it's hard to get there. So even this lady that crossed 120K in 90 days, the same fear she had about not having money is the same fear she had with having a lot of money. So when she's about to cross the 7-figure mark, it still froze her. And she's like, I'm afraid when I have money that people are just going to take it from me. So you can see the thought process there, right?
Yes.
And we uncovered this interesting picture that she was a slave, okay, about 18 centuries ago. Think
Whoa.
about if you're a slave. So if
Yeah.
you're a slave, she was in the picture, looked like she was in a cage with like a prison. So think about if you suddenly have 120K,
Mm-hmm.
you're still a slave. So that's the original thought that her soul has. It's a memory. So when she makes, let's say her next goal is $5 million, even if you got $5 million out of the blue, let's say an insurance company gave it to you because somebody died, right? It could be anything from anywhere. But if you're living as a slave, you're still in a cage, imprisoned. What are you going to do with $5 million? Nothing.
Right. Wow.
Right? So her memory was that, and we had to release her from all of that worry and literally allow her to come out of that cage, that prison, so she could be free again. So it's interesting how she was having jaw pain, back pain, her whole body was aching. And after the treatment, of course, she was like, oh my God, I'm like 1,000 times better because we freed her up from slavery. So, with all the things happening now in our economy, all of these like anti-racism and imprisonment and manipulation, that's being triggered in a lot of us, especially people that are in high power, right? Like, in business.
Mm-hmm.
If that memory, you have some kind of picture like that in your body, in your system, okay? It may show up as a physical issue, right? Like you can come to my table and say, my shoulder hurts, my back hurts, my neck hurts. I don't know why my head is always hurting. That's where I look and I go, well, even if the MRI says it's a disc problem or you tore a ligament, there was a root cause behind that, that is affecting your money flow, because you are the goose that lays the golden egg if you're the business owner. And if the goose is broken down or not able to do their job, how are you going to help other people when you yourself are not well? So that human MRI piece of me, my medical intuitive side and my business insight, because what you do in one thing, you do in everything. And you're just the middle circle, and then your family, and then your business, right? So if the middle circle is not functioning properly, I guarantee you your business will have some kind of an issue or a problem that you may want to look at yourself and see how you are influencing that.
Right. So it's really a reflection of how we are holding ourselves and our
Yes.
perceptions, not only all of our perceptions and visions and our understanding of our physical self in the world and how we hold things in that way. When I work with clients, I say, yeah, when you're busy taking care of everyone and everything, who's taking care of you? And that is certainly one of the things that you do. Vivian, when you were talking about this amazing client who has changed her life, and she's received so much abundance through finesse rather than force,
Yes.
and in a calm harmonic way, which is how we really, if we were going to envision how we want life to be, we don't envision ourselves all stressed out and overwhelmed. We envision
Yes,
ourselves
that's
relaxed,
not a dream.
right, in a good position to make these kinds of decisions. But
Yes.
what happens when people don't make these kinds of decisions? Because you were talking about there was not only this fear of failure, but the same person, once there was abundance, had fear of success. What
Yes.
kinds of obstacles do people run into like that?
So I noticed this, right? We will always trigger all our money stories every time we up level, every time we change and decide that we want to be better than who we were from yesterday or from before. Those money stories come up. Like I said, her fear and worry, even if there's a physical evidence, it's not just spiritual woo-woo, because she wasn't just imagining that the 120K came. She
Right,
actually physically received the check, physical, right? This is a 3D reality.
right, right.
But the fear, because it's deep, whatever fear she had, because their fear has different colors, obviously, and different subjects. But we should really just have a fear of falling and a fear of loud sounds. Those were the two original fears we were born with. But
Okay.
every other fear is imagined and invented and given to us by either our parents, ancestors, our culture, religion, tradition, our econ, even us. Sometimes we scare ourselves because we don't want to get bigger than we were
Right,
before.
right. So
Yes,
we hide so that we
we
don't have
hide.
to, be seen.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe there's imposter syndrome. So
Yes.
maybe we think we aren't as abundant or capable or, enough that
Mm-hmm.
but we really are enough. But there's a
Mm-hmm.
fear of being seen as enough as much as there's a fear of being found out that you aren't.
Yes,
Definitely.
definitely.
So what other types of things happen that could be obstacles that might be the signal or trigger
Mm-hmm.
to remind someone that this is the time, this is the moment, before it's too late and you've gone down a path that could
Mm-hmm.
cause health issues, that could cause not having enough money, that could have fear of failure or success. What is the signal that could say, oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed and there's so much change happening and I'm experiencing growing changes? And instead of just seeing if it'll work itself out, what would be the signal for someone to know that it's time to reach out to somebody like you?
There are two words that come up in my head with that question. Number one word is take a look at your life and take a look if you have so many emergencies happening.
Uh,
That's number one. The other form of emergency is you're having health issues. Like in my case, I had the warning sign of a stroke, right? In 2007. So sometimes the universe gives us a little, hey, by the way, have you considered this? Versus, let me whack you in the head with a 2x4, or let this building fall down on your head and let's see what happens to you. So sometimes,
mhm.
if you're really intuitive and if you're really spiritual or you believe in God, God gives us so many subtle signs, but sometimes we have to really feel like I got to do something, or you're so fed up with your life.
Yeah.
That's still an emergency, right? You don't like what's happening to you now. You want it to change, but you just don't know how. But you
Right.
think it's going to cause you years to release all these issues. Let me tell you, there's such a thing as a lightning speed release if you're able to release. One analogy I wanted to share with your audience is people think when they have to make more money that it's going to be too hard, like they're climbing a big, tall mountain.
Mm-hmm.
How does it feel to climb a big, tall mountain, knowing that you only have this many years in your life, right? Versus, have you tried riding a water slide?
Yeah.
And the thing with that is if you're a control freak, you still might want to like control every single move, but you really can't because you're going down. But
Right.
what if making more money and helping more people actually involves just you riding the wave of that water slide and just letting the universe help you when you've decided what you want? What do you want to have in your life, right? In terms of money, health, and relationships. And people think that they can only get one or the other because we were conditioned with this either or mentality.
Yeah.
When we can have an and also, that's written in my book, and also, how would it feel like having an and also, like I can have money and health and great relationships? To me, that's like a trifecta effect, right? Like I got it all, so it's all good. Versus, oh, I can tell you between love and money, you will always choose love because that's how we were conditioned to just to think, to feel, and to do the things we do. So when your parents told you, well, we're not very rich, we don't have a lot of money, but at least we have love. So that sounds good, right? It's a very nice way of hearing it from our parents. But that's actually a subtle way of saying, just settle for one or the other.
Ah.
That's really the underlying message there. Don't worry about not having money because at least you have a good husband, you have love, and you have a family. When in fact the family sometimes don't want to change their ways, and so they're afraid when you start making more, when you have less time initially with them,
Oh.
they stop you almost from getting to the goal. And again, between love and money, what did I say? We are all usually conditioned to receive love first and to have that first.
So love could self-sabotage you. Oh my God.
The
So
misperception of love,
the
like
signal
what
is
love
going to
means.
be if you're dissatisfied in your life in any aspect,
Yes, in any way.
and you're feeling like you have to choose between money, health, or relationships and love in
Mm-hmm,
that regard, then
mm-hmm,
that actually is enough of a signal to say this might
mm-hmm,
be an opportunity to open a conversation
mm-hmm,
because you you are reflecting what's around you, and if you
mm-hmm.
set the correct intention, then
Yes.
you can have all of those things and also money, health, and also relationships, and also love.
Mm-hmm.
That's very powerful. So, Vivian, if somebody feels those triggers,
Yes.
um, how would they reach out to you?
I suggest you go to overwhelm911.com and have a conversation with me so that you can actually recognize what are your money blocks. Because like I said, whatever you think it is, usually it is not. Because you've read so many books, right? There's so many books out there. But when I look at your soul and really look at, is it in alignment with your heart? By the way, your soul is your boss. The soul tells the heart what to feel. The
Yeah.
heart tells the mind what to think, and the mind tells the body what to do. So even if you do all these mindset work, but then your soul is saying, but hey, I haven't learned this lesson. I do want to learn about this lesson. And
Okay.
that's why your heart is like, your emotions are pushing you to like, how come I'm not very happy? I should be happy by now because I've already made, let's say 500,000, right? $1 million. Why am I not happy? Because you're out of alignment. You're still out of alignment. Your soul is seeking for growth and expansion. And like I said, what did I say? Every time you up level, your money stories will show up because money is in every single fiber of your being. It
So,
is.
if
Money is
you're
energy.
right, if you're ready to up level and clear the money blocks in 90 days or less in any economy, then Vivian's got 8 simple steps for you. And you can see she's helping you do this in a way that's giving you relaxation and harmony and, like I was saying, finesse rather than force. And all you need to do is go to overwhelm.com. OV
Overwhelm 911.
overwhelm911.com. OVERWHELM 911.com, and reach out to Vivian. Vivian, thank you so much for sharing some of your advice that matters. Thank
Thank
you for
you.
joining me in Michelle Hoffman's Liner Notes.